Hi everyone, welcome to 5-Quote Shakespeare Hamlet Theme Analysis. In this series, we look at a total of 14 different themes, and in this one, we'll return to the theme of revenge. Revenge is a big one, of course, and in our first video, we looked at revenge within revenge and explained the significance of the 4 revenge plots in the play. In our second video, we try to explain Hamlet's revenge dilemma by explaining the different cultures that he's being torn between. And in this video, we'll look at the revenge genre itself. We'll focus on the plot features, and in our second video, we'll look at the thematic features. And we're going to have some fun comparing the play of Hamlet to John Wick, and you'll see the parallels are actually quite interesting. What I do in each video is first identify the important aspects of the theme and apply it to the play, and then we dig deeply into the text of each scene and pull out several quotes to use as evidence to prove the connection. If you find these videos useful, please like and subscribe, and if you make a donation, you get a complete set of the PDFs I use in this series. So after all that carnage, we have to be given a good reason for that carnage. Otherwise, we've just wasted our time in a kind of pornographic enjoyment of violence, do you see? There has to be something deeper underneath it all, or the writer has failed to create a meaningful work of art, I believe. So the defeated hero in a tragedy, in a revenge tragedy, the defeated hero is given a noble, honorable death. This satisfyingly releases tension and creates catharsis, and uplifting, edifying emotions of compassion, pity, and admiration. Now, it's very, very much, Hamlet is very, very much a Christ-like figure. Well, and so is John Wick. All of these sacrificed hero stories are very much a Christ story. They go through tortures so that we don't have to, or they go through tortures and suffer so that we can see in our own suffering something that makes the suffering worthwhile. That's the power of the Christ story, and it's not just a Christian religious thing. It's the suffering hero is part of human nature. We are the suffering hero, DC, and we need to see depictions of that in our religions and in the stories that we tell ourselves. Harry Potter is brutal. Harry Potter suffers tremendously. He's very much a Christ figure too. So despite the hero's death, we are also uplifted by identification with a noble, if futile, struggle. It's futile. Life is futile. Samuel Beckett said, the women give birth astride the grave. I mean, this is a fact of life. But why are we so? If that's the case, why don't we just love playing Super Mario games all the time? Maybe that's a bad example because Mario suffers as well, but he continues with the struggle, do you see? So we can't escape the need to watch other people suffer in our place, because it's that identification and the satisfaction. Mario winning, it's a noble struggle. He saves the princess. It gives us a reason to keep up with the struggle, DC. So why do we like watching this? It's such a good question. So despite the hero's death, we are also uplifted by identification with the noble, if futile, struggle. Our shared humanity is suffering and death. Our shared humanity is the suffering of Christ, of Harry Potter, of Hamlet, DC. So at the end of the revenge genre, a good revenge genre, and even in John Wick, which is it's a fluffier revenge genre story than Hamlet, but even in that, the commentary is made at the end on the tragic, complex nature of life and death, and the importance of establishing and maintaining decency, principles of justice. Super Mario saving the world from Bowser. Do you see? There has to be some kind of commentary at the end about the rightness of that suffering, the rightness of the struggle, DC, of maintaining, of keeping the wasteland at bay. That's what we are born to do, ultimately, do you see? It's very, very interesting. So questions are raised regarding the personal and social cost of maintaining that decency. John Wick becomes a monster. The hero becomes a monster. I'm going to talk about that in my next part. The thematic elements of the revenge genre. The dangers, of course, is that in fighting monsters, we become the monster, and questions have to be raised in that regard. But the nobility of the hero's death and or suffering suggests that his struggle was not in vain. We do need people that are willing to give themselves to a nobler purpose. Just look around the world in 2023, and you'll see that we admire those who are sacrificing themselves to keep the wasteland at bay. So there's a sacrificed hero. Identification. Drama is us. We watch the stupidest, most exaggerated, ridiculous superhero Avengers movie or superhero movie, which people are doing dumb, ridiculous, absurd things, but that's merely an exaggerated form of our own lives, do you see? And drama does ask the question, will we be worthy of Horatio's love? This is the way we all want to die, with the respect and love and admiration of others. We do, and that gives us a model of a life well lived. And it's the same thing with John Wick. John Wick's great suffering in the name of justice produces that catharsis. It is suggested at the end that his humanity paid the price. Do I look civilized to you? He says at the end. I'm a monster, he says at the end. Well, how are we monsters in our ordinary lives? If you've sold your soul, now I don't mean this really, if you sold your soul to a dull job that you hate, but you're getting a paycheck that feeds your family, in a way you've kind of become that monster. You've sacrificed a part of yourself for a noble purpose. Homer Simpson, there's an episode in Homer Simpson where he does that. He puts on the wall of his office a job that he hates and he's no good at. He says, you do it for them. I can't remember the details, but yeah, he does it for his family. He goes to work every day for his family. So this is an exaggerated form of what we go through in our lives all the time. This is why we need stories. We need good stories, edifying stories in this way. So here's edification for you. Here's the beautiful, beautiful words of Horatio, of dear Horatio to his dear friend. He says, now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. It's lovely. It's beautiful, beautiful poetry. And beauty in art, it elevates and ennobles the death, do you see? This is why we need beauty. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. We need beauty in the world. Now, cracks a noble heart. It was believed in Shakespeare's time that when the body died, the heart strings literally cracked and snapped. So that's what he's referring to there. Lovely, lovely words. And this is, and Hamlet, a tremendously beautiful work of art. It ennobles us. And John Wick in its own way is a great work, a beautiful work of art as well. Is there beauty in John Wick? There's beauty in his sacrifice, I suppose. Fortinbras at the end, he says a similar thing here. He ratchets up the admiration we have for Hamlet and ourselves. Fortinbras says, bear Hamlet like a soldier to the stage. He gives honor to his foe. Remember, he's from Norway, and his foe is Denmark, and Hamlet is Denmark. He's supposed to be the king of Denmark, but he gives honor to his enemy, and that again, that reinforces Hamlet's greatness in our minds, do you see? His goodness in his minds. Bear Hamlet like a soldier onto the stage, for he was likely, had he been put on, to have proved most royal. He was a decent guy, do you see? And this also has the added purpose of ratcheting up the tragic pathos by pointing out the wasted potential. Hamlet could have been a good guy if his life hadn't been hijacked by the inciting incident, do you see, that happened before the play began. So at the end, the wasteland is cured not by the hero. It's cured by Fortinbras, the hero in his own story, I suppose. Has anybody written a story with Fortinbras at the center? That would be interesting. They've done it with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern at the center. Tom Stoppard wrote a play, and the movie was made. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. It's the Hamlet story told from their point of view. It's very interesting. Go watch that. So Fortinbras restores order. He restores that decency that's worth fighting for, do you see? His measured, solemn, compassionate response to the carnage suggests that he will provide that good governance and stability, that he will heal the wasteland, do you see? He says, when he sees the mess, he says, for me, with sorrow, I embrace my future. He's not boasting. He's not taking delight. He's not another monster. He's not another Claudius. He's not coming in here saying, yeah, we kicked the Danes' asses. Do you see? He doesn't say that. It's very solemn and respectful. He says, no, there's no boasting. There's no delight in someone else's misery. But he does say firmly, he says, yeah, I have rights of memory in this kingdom, which now to claim my vantage doth invite me. Yes, I'm going to do what I set out to do. I'm an avenger too, right? So revenge number 2 has been achieved and order has been restored in Denmark. Very, very interesting play. Very interesting. And John Wick, lots of fun as a movie too. Go watch it. And that was 5 Quotes Shakespeare, Hamlet, theme analysis, revenge, part A, plot features. Come back for my next video, revenge genre features, part B, when we'll look at the thematic features. I hope you found these videos useful, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to pick up a copy of your PDFs if you need them. Thanks for watching.